As the sun dips below the horizon and shadows stretch long, there's a certain charm to the stillness of the night. It's a time for rest, for dreams, for a respite from the day's chaos. But what if this peaceful facade conceals a lurking terror? What if the darkness holds secrets that would shatter our perception of safety? Join me as we delve into these chilling tales that will keep you awake long after you've heard them. 1. The motel threat. Rachel, then 24, was navigating the challenges of early adulthood. She juggled part-time jobs to make ends meet, one of which was as a night auditor at a roadside motel. The job was usually uneventful, filled with the quiet routine of checking guests in and out and tending to any late-night requests. But one night, 2 men checked in, their demeanor immediately setting off alarm bells in Rachel's head. The duo seemed uncomfortably interested in her, peppering her with questions about her schedule, her car, and even if she lived alone. Rachel, though initially taken aback, answered their queries politely but firmly, keeping a professional distance. However, the men's behavior did not improve. Their eyes followed her movements and their comments veered into uncomfortable territory. By the end of their shift, Rachel felt a knot of dread forming in her stomach. Despite the men's insistence, she refused to give them her apartment number, citing security protocols. As soon as they left, Rachel called her roommate, quickly finishing her shift so they could leave together. But as they drove home, the incident seemed to fade into a bad dream. To Rachel's horror, the men were outside her apartment door, their faces illuminated by the hallway light. Her heart pounded against her ribs as she pressed the lock button, but the sound of persistent knocking only heightened her fear. Each knock echoed through the small space like a hammer blow, shaking her to her core. The situation became more sinister when she looked through the peephole and saw the same men from the motel. Their grins were wide, their eyes gleaming with a disturbing intensity. In that moment, Rachel's blood ran cold. The rational part of her mind screamed at her to call the police, but fear had paralyzed her. What if they broke in before help arrived? She could only watch in helpless terror as the men prepared to use their master key. With trembling hands, she dialed 911 and whispered urgently into the phone, each second stretching into an eternity. When the officers arrived, the men were gone, leaving behind an eerie silence and a sense of foreboding. The encounter left deep scars on Rachel's psyche. Every noise, every footstep outside her door sent her into a panic, keeping her constantly on edge. The incident forced her to confront the fragility of her perceived safety and the unnerving realization that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. 2. The black-faced man. Elena, a single mother of 2, decided to move into an old house in a quiet neighborhood. Despite its aged exterior, the house had a certain charm. High ceilings, intricate moldings, and large rooms spoke of a bygone era. It was a far cry from the noisy city apartment they had been living in. But Elena soon realized that the house had its own secrets. One day, her 5-year-old daughter Nora came home from kindergarten with a drawing. It depicted a tall, thin man with a pitch-black face. When Elena asked where he had come from, Nora replied that he visited her at night. She described him as someone who walked slowly and always seemed to be watching them. Intrigued but also alarmed, Elena dismissed it as an overactive imagination. Children, after all, can conjure fantastical figures from the depths of their creativity. However, strange things began to happen around the house. Elena started noticing unusual odors, a cloying sweetness that seemed to permeate the walls. Footsteps echoed in the empty halls when she was sure she was alone. And objects moved from one place to another as if nudged by an invisible hand. Then one night, Nora screamed. Elena rushed to her daughter's room to find her huddled in the corner, sobbing uncontrollably. "He's here," she cried, pointing to the closet. "The black-faced man is in my closet." Elena, though skeptical, felt a chill crawl up her spine. She opened the closet, but it was empty except for some old clothes and cobwebs. Reassured but unsettled, she tucked Nora back into bed and left. But in the morning, Alina found the drawing from the previous night torn into pieces. And the closet was filled with an inexplicable layer of frost, as if someone had opened the door to winter. Fearful for her daughter's well-being, Alina decided to leave the house. As they drove away, they never looked back at the house. They left behind not only their home, but also their sense of security and innocence. The experience left them forever changed, haunted by the shadow of the black-faced man. 3. The Friend Who Changed. Lucas had always considered himself fortunate to have a best friend like Chloe. From sharing secrets as kids to dreaming about the future, they had a bond that seemed unbreakable. But one day, everything changed. Chloe collapsed in the middle of class, startling both Lucas and their classmates. The suddenness of the event was alarming. Fortunately, paramedics arrived quickly, but despite their best efforts, Chloe's condition remained a mystery. Tests revealed nothing physically wrong, yet she remained weak and unable to attend school. Weeks passed with Chloe confined to her home. Lucas, concerned but unsure how to help, reached out to her family. They were as puzzled as the doctors and equally worried about their daughter's health. When Chloe was finally cleared to return to school, Lucas couldn't contain his joy. He raced to meet her at their usual spot under the old oak tree. But Chloe wasn't the same. Her eyes were vacant, her movements stiff. She seemed like a puppet with strings attached. That night, Lucas went to Chloe's house for a sleepover. Around 3 a.m., he was awoken by a blood-curdling scream coming from Chloe's room. Bursting into the room, he found her sitting up in bed, eyes wide with terror, pointing to a corner. "What is it?" Lucas asked, his voice shaking. But instead of answering, Chloe leaped from the bed and viciously attacked Lucas, scratching and biting him until he bled. Startled and hurt, Lucas managed to escape and run to his own home. When he told his parents about the incident, they didn't believe him. "Chloe wouldn't hurt a fly," they said dismissively. But the next day, Chloe's family moved away without saying goodbye. Lucas was left with more questions than answers. What had caused Chloe's drastic change? Was it a disease, a psychological break, or something more sinister? The truth remained elusive, hidden in the dark recesses of that old house on the hill. These stories are more than just tales designed to keep you awake. They are glimpses into the darker aspects of human experience. They serve as reminders that sometimes the most frightening things are the ones we cannot explain. So if you find yourself alone at night, take a moment to appreciate the comfort of the familiar. For in the realm of the unknown, where shadows dance and whispers echo, our deepest fears often come to life. And now I want to hear from you. Have you ever experienced something unexplainable or terrifying that you can share with others? Or perhaps you have a story that you've heard but can't quite shake off. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments section below. Your stories might just be the next chilling tale that keeps people awake. Remember, some doors are best left unopened, some shadows are best left undisturbed, and some secrets are best left buried in the darkness. Until next time, stay safe and keep your doors locked.